I guess I've always just kind of listened to it and always wanted to make my own. I think when I was in like elementary school back then, I was still like kind of starting to write. My first album was like a Calvin and Hobbes themed album where all of the song titles were different books of the Calvin and Hobbes books. But I was a drummer, so I didn't have anything to put anything to. So it wasn't until junior year of college that I got a guitar and started like really writing songs that actually were put together a little bit more than just drumming and singing. I don't know, I think the drumming part just comes naturally. And so I'm always like tapping at the foot, which is basically all that I'm doing. Just kind of feels good and feels natural. And I'm always thinking in terms of what are the drums doing for this part anyway. Yeah, I could talk about the last one, The Problem with Everything, because that one I wrote the most recently. And that one was kind of just me. I feel like a lot of times people talk about like, you hear a lot of negative things about like globalization and a lot of different people coming in a sort of metropolitan vibe coming to different cities that, cities weren't used to it before in a way. And you hear a lot of the backlash about it, and that becomes a focus. So I wanted to kind of write something that was, here are the positive things about this. So like the first verse is about, hey, look, you have all these great, restaurants and shops from local owners that, might have grown up in a different country. And so they have really great food that you didn't used to have before in your town. And to kind of go from that to, just traveling and kind of bringing those experiences with you to, and the third verse is more focused on kind of just us fetishizing other countries in a little bit, like so the idea of like somebody in Italy fetishizing West Virginia wine while everyone in West Virginia is fetishizing Italian wine. And then the last verse is really like my main point, which is that I think when we have people from all sorts of different backgrounds and experiences together, we can have more solutions for different problems. So the idea of like there's lions in Tacoma, Washington, but you have somebody who grew up in the savannah, he might have an idea of what solutions to actually do in this sort of situation to kind of keep everybody safe. So, after I finished school, I moved to Portland, Oregon for a year and a half, and I spent a lot of that time working with a group called the Immigrant Refugee Community Organization, and a great organization out there. I worked with their Africa House a little bit. Portland has a huge Somali population that's out there. And so the Africa House is kind of focused on immigrants and refugees from the African countries, predominantly Somalia. So I would do homework help on like Saturdays, and I started volunteering after school as well once a week with a similar program that was all kids, just at this certain school. And these are all just kids who are really smart. It's just language barriers that are getting in the way. And so just kind of helping tutor people and also just talking. Yeah. A lot of different artists that I love. Usually I listen to a great song and just kind of be like, how did they make a song that's this freaking good? And I'll just kind of try to break things down into all the different elements about how they brought this in here, and then that came back over there, and things like that. Some of my favorite artists that inspire my acoustic music would be like Josh Ritter, who did the cover song that I did, the Avery Brothers, Ryan Adams, Gregory Alan Isaacoff, music like that really, it's awesome. I just want more people to hear it. I think that's my goal at this point. I've been writing for a few years, and it wasn't until this last year that I finally got comfortable sharing it with people. And so I really just am that was a huge hurdle to get past, and I'm kind of trying to figure out, well, what's my next goal? And I think it's just to get more people to hear it, strangers, more friends, family, and things like that I would never have felt comfortable with them hearing my voice at all before. Yeah. For this project, it's called Jackson Fields. I've got an album called People and Places and Things out on Spotify. You can find it on there, Bandcamp, jacksonfields.bandcamp.com. All the things on the album are me. Did all the instruments, did all the recording, mixing, and editing and stuff like that. And then also another project that's different, that's like the part of me that grew up listening to too much Green Day, so that project, and that's called Charlie Foxtrot, which is farleychalkstrot.bandcamp.com. And it's also Charlie Foxtrot on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. There's 2 albums out of that one. Same thing for Jackson Fields. All the stuff is mine on those.
for Decatur. I swam up